here today. We are here today in response to the alarming rise in daylight jewelry store robberies, which have deeply affected the Tamil business community in Scarborough and more recently many other communities as well. These incidents have not only raised significant concern about safety, but have also highlighted the urgent need of collective action to safeguard our businesses, livelihood, and community. It is now my great honor to introduce our President, Mr. Hariharan, a steadfast advocate for our community and a visionary leader. Mr. Hariharan has been at the forefront of these initiatives, ensuring that our concerns are addressed and our voices are heard. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Hariharan, who will lead us through today's meeting.
வணக்கம் அனைவருக்கும். இன்று எமது அழைப்பை ஏற்று இங்கு வந்திருக்கும் உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் எமது வணக்கம். இது கனடிய தமிழர் வர்த்தக சம்மேளனத்தின் ஒரு முக்கியமான ஒரு குறிக்கோளாக இருக்கிறது. இருந்தால் எமது சமூகத்தில் தான் கூடுதலாக இந்த கொள்ளைகள் தொடங்கப்பட்டது. ஆகவே இந்த கொள்ளைகளை எவ்வாறு நாங்கள் இதை பற்றி கூடுதலாக சிந்திக்கலாம் என்ற ஒரு முனைப்போடு நாங்கள் இந்த ஒரு கூட்டத்தை ஒன்று செய்திருக்கின்றோம். இதில் எங்களுடைய கவுன்சிலர்ஸ், எம்பிபி, சூப்பரிண்டென்டென்ட் ஆஃப் போலீஸ் மற்றும் மற்ற போலீஸ் உத்தியோகர்கள் வந்திருக்கிறார்கள். அவர்களுடன் சேர்ந்து நாங்கள் உங்களுக்கு இன்சூரன்ஸை பற்றியும் இந்த இன்சூரன்ஸின் இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸை பற்றியும் சொல்வதற்காக செந்தூரன் புனிதவேலும் வந்திருக்கின்றார். அத்துடன் நாங்கள் உங்களுக்கு கடைசியாக முடிந்த பொழுது உங்களுடைய கேள்விகளுக்கும் மறுமொழியாற்றுவதற்கு இங்கே வந்திருக்கும் அதிகாரிகள் கட்டாயமாக உங்களுடைய கேள்விகளுக்கும் மறுமொழி தருவார்கள். Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today at the Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce. Your presence here is a testament to your commitment to the safety and the well-being of our community. The recent surge in daytime robberies targeting Tamil community jewelry stores in Scarborough and recently in other areas, Markham and Richmond Hill, is deepening alarming. These incidents not only threaten the livelihood of hardworking business owners, but also undermine the sense of security we all strive to maintain. As a community, we must come together, pool our resources, and act decisively to address the issue. This meeting serves as a platform for open dialogue and collaboration. By bringing together law enforcement representatives, city councillors, MPPs, jewelry store owners, and other business leaders, we aim to develop proactive measures to deter such crimes and protect our businesses. I want to express my gratitude to our police representatives and the city councillors, member of provincial parliament, for their ongoing support and willingness to work with us. Your expertise and guidance are critical in shaping strategies that will make a tangible difference. To our business owners and community leaders, your insights and experiences are invaluable in identifying gaps and finding effective solutions. Together, we can create a united front against crime and foster a safer environment for everyone. Let us use this opportunity to strengthen partnerships, enhance awareness, and build a robust framework for safety and security. I am confident that through our collective efforts, we can ensure the safety of our business and the prosperity of our community. Thank you. Next on our agenda, I would like to call upon the Toronto City Councillor, Patti Kandawil.
Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ariana Kenana, for bringing the community together. I appreciate your leadership to address what is clearly a very troubling issue within our community. We've seen, I think, more than 5 violent armed robberies in our community the last couple of months. So thank you, Kenana, Ariana, and the entire CTCC group for bringing and convening this meeting on behalf of Councillor Myers, myself, and Deputy Mayor McKelvey. We are happy to support and be supportive going forward. I want to also appreciate Superintendent Leanne. And Leanne, you have something common to our community. You have a long last name that others find difficult to pronounce, similar to ours. So I thank your leadership, Superintendent Leanne, and TPS staff here for supporting our community, which is in what is clearly a growing trend, a growing pattern. And all the officers here, thank you for coming out and showing your support. That means a lot to our community. I haven't shared this. I have with 41 Division. I almost became a cop back in 2006. Superintendent Bill, 41 Division. Anyway, so I passed all the tests. I didn't have the vision. So police officers, we appreciate your support. This is an ongoing partnership. The role of a counselor is to bring our community together. This is not the first time city councilors have worked with police on a targeted situation. Our colleague, Councillor Mike Cole, Eglinton Lawrence, about 6 months ago, he hosted a small business forum. He had many, similar to ours, many small businesses having these dash and grab incidents where they would break the window, grab the cash machine or the register and dash out, and they came together and formed a working group. So one of the things that I'm hoping that we establish in terms of next steps coming out of here is a working group so the jewelry store owners, the Chamber of Commerce, our police, and us as councillors can stay in touch to address this, shared best practices, and how the police can be responsive, and how solutions are being advanced going forward. And that's the key element for what we're looking to achieve in terms of next steps and keeping and informing the store owners. There's a lot of positive that we can learn from each other. Our police are versed in the best practices. The Chamber of Commerce can translate, can share and educate the store owners here, but ultimately what we're looking to do is to create a stronger sense of community. So store owners, you should have the freedom to ask questions, to ask for support, and to ensure that your small business, your family's livelihood is being protected. I'd like to close with a few observations and comments. What we're seeing happening is not something in isolation. We have to look at the root causes of what's bringing us here. One in particular is the need for bail reform from the federal government. So that is something that all voices here, I know the officers feel very frustrated with apprehending suspects who are out on bail. That needs to be addressed. Number 2, funding for social programs. We have to look at the root causes of violence. Why are these? We saw the arrests from York Region Police yesterday. These are 15, 14, 16-year-old boys. We have to understand what is causing the desire to commit this armed robberies. So we have to address the root causes of violence, and that requires funding from our federal, provincial, and city partners to ensure their social programs, there are meaningful activities, whether it's education, community centers, programming that appeals to young boys. This wasn't the case 10 years ago, 5 years ago. 14, 15, 16-year-old boys conducting armed robberies. So I'll close on that and underscore that we all have responsibility, particularly not just on bail reform, policing, but also investing in young people to make sure they don't choose these paths. So again, thank you everyone for coming out today. I'm excited and looking forward to the next steps coming out of today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pati Kandala. Next in our agenda, I would like to call upon the City Councillor Jamal Myers to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamal Myers, and I am the City Councillor for Scarborough North. I have the unfortunate distinction in that 4 of the recent robberies were all in my ward. This is something that we've been dealing with when I first became a councillor, and I went to my first robbery at Majestic City, and I met with the owner, and what struck me, I guess, was just how devastating it was. It wasn't just the loss of the goods, it was the loss of the sense of security, it was the issues of whether you could find insurance to keep your business going, just because of the type of business you're in. And it was just the frustration that this wasn't our community 10 years ago, as Councillor Campbell said. Like, this is like 15 years ago, you wouldn't think of 16-year-olds committing armed robberies in our community. You know, I saw the videos that have been circulating on social media where at the latest robbery, they actually apprehended the young men that were committing these robberies. And what struck me was just, they were so young. Something is happening with our kids that we don't fully know. There is the issue of bail reform in terms of, you know, the police catching people and these people being out almost the next day. But I think we also have to look at something more fundamental and long-lasting in terms of what are the investments that we're making in our children, where they're taking these paths where 10 years ago, this was just unthinkable. So I think I'm glad to see everyone here. I'm glad to see Superintendent Papazuski here. I got it right. MVP Danigalasam, and of course Markham City Councillor Nathan. We're all here. We're here to listen. We're here to do whatever resources we can provide to just help solve this issue, because this is not going to be an issue where just the police can solve it, or just the councillors or MPPs can solve it. This is going to be an issue where we're all going to have to work together and find a strategy that works for the entire community. So I'm here to listen, and I'm just very, very pleased to see so many people coming out to listen and learn and speak about this important issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Myers. Next, I would like to ask Superintendent, Toronto Police Superintendent Leanne Papazuski, the 42 Division.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As he said, my name is Leanne Papazuski, and I'm the superintendent over at 42 Division. And 42 Division is North Scarborough area, Markham Road over to Big Park, and Steeles up to the 401. So, and much like the councillor said, there's been quite a few robberies in our division, 6 specifically that we're going to talk about since October 30th. But first off, before I even get into those and how we're going to respond to it for the police perspective, I'd like to thank the Canadian Tamils Chamber of Commerce for holding this meeting today, as well as all of our representatives. First of all, thank you to the President area, did I pronounce that correctly? To the Toronto City Councillor Parkey, to Councillor Myers, to Councillor McKelvey, who couldn't be here today, but certainly she reached out to me as well on behalf of the community, and the MPP, BJ. I'm not going to say your last name, BJ. Certainly, I see them at many community events, and each one of these councillors and representatives always come up and represent the community. They seem to be on their phone 24 hours a day and very accessible to me as a police superintendent. So I really appreciate the work that they do on behalf of the community. And when I talk about the community, and like we hit back to some of the things that the previous councillors have said and the president has said, but the concern about the people who are committing these types of violent acts. And we talk about crime prevention, and we talk about rehabilitation of people who commit it. It brings me back to like Sir Robert Peel about the principles of policing and crime prevention, where we say that the police are the public and the public are the police. And it's really reflective here. Like our police officers are public members. We're community members. We have family. We have children and spouses and stuff that work in retail. Like my entire family worked in retail. I was in retail before I was a police officer. So it's really reflective of us. And when I say that the public are the police, we need your help. It's a shared responsibility for community safety. And I know that the councillor had mentioned that. And for just by showing up today, it shows that you have a shared responsibility and concern for the public safety in general. So I want to thank each and every person for being here today. That's a lot longer of an introduction, but I feel it's really important for me to talk about it. So, like I said, I'm in charge of 42 Division. We have over 200 officers that serve this community, but we also have officers here present today that serve the entire GTA. I'd like to thank York Regional Police for bringing representatives. And if you just want to like raise your hand so people know who you are here today, and I know we have a uniformed officer in the back. With me and my team here today, I have Inspector Joe Mattis of the Hold Up Squad. He'll be speaking to the actual investigations and some tips in regards to crime prevention strategies and what to do for robberies and what the trends are that we're seeing in the City of Toronto, as well as the Acting Detective Sergeant Amanda Annette. So both of those two officers will come speak after me. In the back, we have Police Constable Chris Mitchell of 42 Division. He's our crime prevention officer. So he's available to help with crime prevention through environmental design audits. And what that is really tips and suggestions and crime prevention suggestions for how to better protect yourself as retail owners and better protect yourselves as member of communities, of what you can do and physical changes that you can make or security changes that you can make to your setup. So we offer that service at 42 Division, and it's really offered across the City of Toronto at every other division as well. And also with him is Arjinder Gill. He is our crime prevention officer for all of the City of Toronto and specifically for the Hold Up Squad. So he oversees our crime prevention program for all of our divisions, and we work collaboratively with other services. I know much what the councillor said, that it's not just a Toronto problem, it's something that we're experiencing throughout the GTA. Also in the back too, and I'm going to have my other officer, we have a Tamil speaking officer today. So if English is not your first language and you need some assistance in what we talked about, we have an officer, and I don't want to butcher your name, so if you want to say it out loud. Yeah, so he's available as well if you have any questions. So what we'll do, we'll be available for questions and answers afterwards. I know that there was some concern. The Councillor Myers talked about the apprehension of two individuals where where community members actually apprehended these two youths. The inspector will speak a little bit more about it, but these two youths, I understand the concern of the community and being on edge after experiencing violent robberies, but these two youths were not involved in that at that particular time. I do caution community members for acting. They were held, and I did see the video, and I do know that there was weapons used, and that there's they were already held at that point. So you have to, by us coming here today and talking about the issues, we have to also talk about what you can do under Canadian law and what is determined as excessive. When the Councillor Myers talks about what happened at Majestic City, there was also another circumstance there where somebody was held and his leg was actually broken by the community members that were there. We want to protect you as well. That now means if you commit a criminal act in holding someone back in excessively, you could be charged. So coming here today and having the opportunity to ask questions is really, really important. So those two individuals were not directly involved in the robbery that happened just previous before. And again, I'll refer that over to the inspector when he comes and talks. So part of the things that I also want to talk about today is reporting to police. So you have the officers here. You can contact us at 42 Division. If there's something is an emergency, you can call 911. And please call 911 and please report things to police, even if you feel like it's minor in nature. It's really important for us to respond and to have a good idea of the criminal activity and the trends that are happening. The reason I say that is because what I do weekly and daily is I look at the crime trends in the divisions, and I deploy our officers appropriately to where the crime is happening. If I don't know it's happening and then at the volume or the frequency that is happening, I'll be deploying our officers in other areas. So it's really important to report to police. If you're not comfortable reporting directly to us, there's always the means of Crime Stoppers where you can report anonymously. I also have community members that will take your information and relay your concerns. And Suku, I'm just going to point you out. We have a community member here that he meets with us monthly as part of our Community Police Liaison Committee. And certainly he relays the concerns of your community and sends us information. So that is important as well. So I think that's all. I'm going to wrote a couple of notes here. Again, I would like to thank you very much for coming today. And I'm going to turn it over. And both the next two speakers will be together, I assume. So without further ado, if that's okay, President?
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce Inspector Joe Mattis and Detective Sergeant Amanda Annette. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Pull up one thing here. My name is Joe Mattis. I am the inspector in charge of the Toronto Police Hold-Up Squad. Hold-Up Squad's mandate is basically to investigate all robberies within the city of Toronto. I know we also have our colleagues here from the York region, and they'll speak on that. But what a hold-up is for the Hold-Up Squad, it's considered a robbery. So things that we're talking about, whether it's a jewelry store, a bank, a retail variety store, all of those are considered robbery. I'm going to stick to jewelry today because that seems to be the topic. First of all, I'd like to thank the Canadian Panels Chamber of Commerce for this meeting, member of Provincial Parliament, our city government officials, and Superintendent Leanne Papazuski for this. You don't know how grateful I am that these type of meetings exist. I've been scrambling at the beginning of this week and last week trying to create something regarding jewelry store robberies. And when I got the call from Ganesh to say, can you speak at this event, I'm like, absolutely. And I showed up here because half my work is already done. So this is a great experience for us to get people together, to get people talking. We are in conversations with the Canadian Jewelers Vigilance Alliance and other corporations, and that's really what it's about. It's about getting groups of people together from all levels of government, from business, from citizens to business owners, and getting them to talk about solutions that each person can do so that we can all support each other to make a safer community, make your businesses prosper, and make our job a little bit easier, right? So what I can tell you as far as stats before I turn it over to Detective Sergeant Amanda, and is that so far in Toronto this year, we've seen 43 robberies for jewelry stores year to date. Last year, we had 21 jewelry store robberies year to date. So yes, we have seen an increase. That's a 105% increase year to date from last year to this year. We're aware of that. I will be taking some questions after, but I'll turn it over to Detective Sergeant Amanda Nets now, and then we'll move on with some of the other things that we'll discuss.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm honored to be speaking in front of you. When I first went to the Hold Up Squad 4 years ago, this was part of the division that I did as a member of Team 4, which is 4 districts, 41, 42, 43. So I'm glad to be a part of this conversation, and to echo what the superintendent and what the inspector said, we can't do this without you. Obviously, we have our role, but as community members and shop owners, proprietors, you guys need to help us so that we can help you. We're going to talk more about prevention strategies, I think, later on, so I don't want to kind of take up too much time with that, but we are actively looking into exactly this on a daily basis. We see it, this is our bread and butter, and we have also dealt with this same situation but with different entities. So 2 years ago it was pharmacies, 2 years before that it's cell phone stores. So this is what's happening right now, and we're here to help you. So we are actively doing our part, and we're looking forward to helping you guys do your part too, and giving you some strategies, giving you some pointers. And I understand that not everybody's in a mall. You might be in a strip mall or your wherever your store is. There's strategies that you can implement too on your behalf to make your place safer, and to get your landlords as a tenant, get them involved. Get as many people as you can involved. Like the people that you have here today is great, but we all need to work together, and that's why we're here. So thank you for your showing today. We look forward to the questions when they come, and we're going to do our part so we can help you.
Thank you, thank you. Next on our agenda is I would like to invite MVP Vijay Thanigasalam to speak 3 words.
Ellarikkum vanakkam. Hello everyone. First off, I would like to thank Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce, 42 Division Superintendent, York Region Law Enforcement, Police, Detectives, Inspectors. Thank you for your service, and thank you for being here. I've been hearing stories, I've been watching videos. Either is a business breaking, jewelry shop, auto theft, gun on the head, in their house. So there's a story in my riding of Scarborough Ridge Park. 5 people got into the house, guns on all the members' heads. And a 12-year-old was sleeping. He woke up with a gun on his head. He has never seen a gun before in person, other than the video games. They took the jewelries, took the car keys, they're gone. That young boy, he couldn't sleep for nights. This is not just one story. All the business owners, and even families with kids, they are in fear. I think today's event is mainly focused on the jewelry shop business break-ins that have been taking place. I want to highlight what's happening in the provincial government. There are 3 levels of government: federal, provincial, and municipal. I am part of the provincial government, Ontario government, under the leadership of Premier Ford. We are tough when it comes to any crime, whether it's auto theft or business break-in or to keep community safe. Premier Ford, Minister Kirchner, Solicitor General, and Associate Minister Graham McGregor for auto theft and bail reform. We are focused on to make sure we not just bring investment, to bring all the tools to our law enforcement so that they can do their job, but also we are tough on legislation. We brought regulation, and we brought more investments to make sure the new legislations are implemented. And we all know in Ontario, Premier is tough on crime. But that is not enough as we are speaking today. The reason that is not enough is because when a police officer catches someone with an illegal gun or illegal drugs, before the police officer even finish the shift, they are out on bail. ஒரு ஆள் வீட்டுக்கு முன்னால வந்து கதவை தட்டி பெல் அடிச்சு நெத்தியில துவக்க வச்சு கார்க்கு ஏன் வீட்டுல இருக்க நகையும் எடுத்துட்டு போய் அவரை கையும் களமா பிடிச்சால், அதே நாள் பிடிபட்டவர் கண்ணோட பிடிபட்டால், எல்லாத்தையும் ஒரு சட்ட விரோதமான ஒரு போதைப் பொருளோட பிடி வச்சால் அதே நாள் வெளியில வர. அதான் இங்க நடந்து கொண்டிருக்க பிரச்சனை. அகைன் இந்த முழ குற்றம் இழைக்கிறவர்கள் பிணைய எடுத்து வெளியில வந்து கொண்டே இருக்கணும். திருப்பியும் அடுத்த நாள் போய் ரோட்ல ஒரு ஜுவல்லரி ஷாப்ல அவர்கள் போய் பிரேக் இன் பண்ணினோமோ, அந்த கன்னும் ஒரு இல்லீகல் கன். அதுக்கு பிறகு அது தப்பிச்சு போற யூஸ் பண்ற காரும் ஒரு வீட்ல இருந்து இன்னொரு வீட்ல இருந்து திருடிட்டு போன கார். So police keep on arresting these people and they are out on bail before the officers shift over. So that's the reality right here, and that's why Premier Ford went to microphone, open in the media, asking the federal government, we have to implement the bail reform. Full stop. நாங்கள் ஒன்டாரியோ கவர்மெண்டா மக்களா ஸ்கார்பரோல இல்ல மார்க்கம் டூரம் யோக் ரீஜன் நாங்கள் கேட்டுக்கொள்றது என்னன்னா, மத்திய அரசுக்கு இந்த முழ குற்றம் செஞ்சு கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள நீங்கள் பிணைய கொடுத்து அதே நாள் வெளியில விடாதீங்க. அதைத்தான் நாங்கள் கேட்டுக்கொள்றோம். அது மட்டும் இல்லாம இந்த இல்லீகல் கன்ஸ் எங்கேருந்து வருது, இந்த இல்லீகல் ட்ரக்ஸ் எங்கேருந்து வருது, இது எல்லாம் சவுத் ஆஃப் த borderல தான் வருது. So we are urgently asking, again this is not secret, it's already up on media. Premier took to the microphone in every instance seeking the federal government's attention. You got to stop getting the illegal guns into Canada, because 90% of the handguns in Ontario used in a crime were unlawfully smuggled from the United States into Canada. 90%, 90% கைத்துப்பாக்கி இந்த ஜுவல்லரி ஷாப்பா இருக்கலாம், கார் தெஃப்டா இருக்கலாம், இது 90% எங்க இருந்து வருதுன்னா போர்டர்ல இருந்து வருது. அந்த போர்டர் பாதுகாக்கிற மத்திய அரசு பெயில் ரிஃபார்ம் நீங்கள் செய்யணும். அதோட நீங்க செய்ய வேண்டியது போர்டரை நிப்பாட்டணும், போர்டர்ல பாதுகாப்பை நீங்கள் கூட்டணும். இது ஒரு ராக்கெட் சயின்ஸ் இல்ல, இது ஒரு பேசிக் ஆஸ்க் ஃப்ரம் தி பீப்புள் ஃப்ரம் தி ஒன்டாரியோ கவர்மெண்ட் as well. இப்போ எங்களோட ஒன்டாரியோ கவர்மெண்டால from the provincial side, what we have done is, when it comes to auto theft, we have invested over $134 million to purchase new tools, new vehicles, new helicopters. We bought 5 new helicopters. When it comes to the court system, we are investing over almost $112 million to prevent the repeat violent offenders, to use the justice system as a revolving door. They come in, they go out. Morning they come in, evening go out. But we are pouring millions, I'm talking 112 millions to the system, and 134 millions to more tools to support the cops. But without changing the federal criminal code, we will continue to invest money and cops will continue to chase and catch, but those who are caught red-handed with an illegal gun or illegal drugs should be inside. They should not be back on the streets. That's the exact message I want to echo today on behalf of Scarborough Ridge Park. Because we have heard, I'm sure the law enforcement, correct me if I'm wrong, some of the jewelry shop thieves that use the stolen cars to commit their crimes. And that's why we need to have the auto theft reform as well. And the Canadian justice system is definitely at this point is weak. And the carjackers, they know the system. They know the loopholes. They know exactly where the federal criminal code is. That's why they are trying to take advantage of the system. And that's why we have to reform that. But moreover, I want to highlight what are this government, the provincial government, what are we doing? So I'll tell you. So from 2018 to 2022, first when we came to this government, we saw there is a gap in investment to fight gang and gun violence. So we have invested $25 million to fight the gun and gang violence. And starting 2022 to 2023, we invested additional $15 million to combat gun and gang violence. And from 2022 to 2025, this is for Toronto, for overall in Ontario, we invested $72 million for the community safety and policing grant. And with over 13 million focusing allocated for the centralized shooting response team. Not just that, we have invested $300 million in combating auto theft to create the first of its kind in the nation, auto theft prosecution team, and enhance the court resources and prosecute criminals system that actually profit the stolen vehicles. So we're trying to bring money into the system to enhance the system. Not just that, wait for this. So we are preparing the resources, human resources in the court system. We invested $29 million to appoint new judges, new crown prosecutors, அதாவது புதிய நீதிபதிகள், புதிய அரசு வழக்கறிஞர்கள், new staff, பணியாளர்கள், almost 29 million just to have the human resources ready when the federal government change bail reform. So the new judges, new crown prosecutors are ready. We have invested the money and the tools are given to cops. They are on the front line, midnight, early morning, you call it, they are there. But what happens to those people that got caught with illegal guns, illegal drugs? What happens? They are out. How come they are out? We do have to change the bail system. And number 2, we have to secure the borders. As I mentioned, 90% கைத்துப்பாக்கி இந்த illegal guns borderல தான் வருது. யார் அந்த border protect பண்ணணும்? The Canadian Border Services, மத்திய அரசு அதை பார்க்கும். So இவ்வளவு $million இறக்கி கொண்டிருக்கும் போது, இப்போ for example இங்க பாப்போம், இவ்வளவு பேர் நாங்க வந்திருக்கோம். So நாங்க யார்கிட்ட போய் கேட்க போறோம் இந்த bail reform நாங்க bail reform பண்ணணும். We have to. I think this is a good opportunity for the community, and thanks to the president of the Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce for arranging this with our law enforcement officers so that they get to engage with the owners and also the citizens. The auto theft, breaking into the house, impact everyone. So it's a good opportunity for us to have the dialogue. But we have to be crystal clear. Who's responsible for bail? Who's responsible for border service? Is federal government. And who can invest money? Provincial government. And what are we doing? I just list all the millions and millions of dollars. So I hope we come to a conclusion to see where we can go as a community next. But it is our opportunity to thank the law enforcement officers for their service day and now, because it's not easy. Because they're doing their job. I heard from my riding, the cops in my riding, VJ, before my shift finishes, some folks are out. So I will finish there. And lastly, I want to mention another story in my riding. This is south of the 401, so it's 43 divisions area. One car was stolen. Police caught them. They brought the car back. Same week, individuals walked into the street, got the same car, they out. I heard stories, some families, they have Apple tags in their car. And they somehow find that in the Montreal or Quebec, some port. And they try to go there. And these family members who are the real true owners of the car got arrested for the trespassing. But how come these cars are going offshores to other countries? What happened to the border service? Where is federal government? I'll finish off. But thanks to everyone, thanks to organizers, thanks to the community members, and of course, thanks to all the law enforcement officers.
Thank you, Mr. Taniyasalam. In fact, we did invite federal MPs, but they never showed up here. It's very unfortunate. Okay. On our agenda next, I would like to invite Markham Councillor Ward 7, Jonathan Allen, to say a few words.
Thanks, Harina. Thank you. I don't really want to take up too much time. I'd rather hear from the police officers. Bail reform is not that simple. If an accused meets the criteria, or if they do not meet the criteria, the judge must release them. So it's not very simple as we think. So when we're looking into bail reform, it's important that we look at it from a perspective that an innocent person doesn't get detained or wrongly punished. So that's why a lot of people get released a lot of the time. A lot of these are with the federal government, and it's very unfortunate nobody's here today to talk a lot about that. But in my community meetings with the police, York Region Police, we've delved into a lot of these. There's a lot of police chiefs that have gone and made deputations in Ottawa asking for certain things. So one of them is for the border security. So when a container leaves the port after 72 hours, they could change the contents of the container. For example, if a container goes out today saying there's furniture in it, 72 hours after they could change that into cars when they're in international waters. So that's how they get away with transporting all these cars to other countries. So things like that. So there's a lot of changes that need to be made. It's not one simple thing. And the police officers are correct. There's trends in the community. It happens with the economic conditions of the country at the time. We've had bank robberies at times. We've had break-ins. We had car theft, and now we're at jewelry stores right now. So that's what we're gonna deal with, I guess, this year or this time. I would close with this, and there's gonna be more community meetings, so just we could educate public on how to keep themselves safe. Maybe we should clean up our garages and actually put the cars inside instead of using it as a storage, right? So using things for what it's intended for, locking up things and putting extra safety precautions. It may keep us safe. Of course, it's not going to keep you safe if somebody knocks on your door and puts a gun to your head. But also it's important for us to look at those kind of traumas as well, because those will stay with you for a long, long time. So this is a collective effort from the community that we need to deal with this, and I want to thank Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce for making this effort to bring so many people together to talk about this today. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Councillor Nathan. Next, I would like to invite Constable Dave Wong from York Regional Police to say a few words. Sure. Darren and Dave.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Detective Constable Darren Wong. This is my partner, Detective Constable Dave Wong. We're with the York Regional Police 5 District, so that's the Markham detachment. We're part of our property crimes unit. So primarily, our team's responsible for break-and-enters and vehicle thefts, which is something that the councillor touched upon earlier. We also do involve ourselves with related to our robbery investigations. As you probably saw in the news over the past couple of days, the one that happened at Markham Mall, our team was actually one of the first ones on site. I'm not going to talk too much about the investigations and what YRP is doing. We share a lot of the similar capabilities as our brothers and sisters with TPS. So they've already sort of touched upon that. We also do have a hold-up unit. Unfortunately, they weren't able to attend today, but we're going to be attending on their behalf. We're here to offer our support to the community, especially to Markham and Stouffville, because that's the areas that we protect. We are out there every day, every night. We have 2 property crime teams, and we try to have coverage as much as we can throughout the day and evenings. Once again, we're looking for the public support, reporting the incidents to us, either small or large. They're all important to us because, as the superintendent was talking about, it's the crime trends. We need to identify these trends. We need to address them as soon as possible. We need to get ahead of the crime. And I know that a lot of people are fearful of reporting to police because of repercussions. I've heard that from some complainants as well. So I can't stress enough that we do offer a service called Crime Stoppers. That is anonymous. We do review every single Crime Stoppers tip, and they are looked into. So they're not just dashed away.
Good afternoon. I'm just looking around the room. First of all, thank you very much for inviting us. So even though, with regrets, our hold-up unit couldn't be here, I'm actually very glad to be personally here. Even though I've been personally informed of this meeting sort of quite recently. So I show up and I have no sort of preconceived notion as to what this meeting is really going to be about. But I'm sitting here listening to everybody here. I'm looking around the room. So just prior to me becoming a police officer, I've worked with many of the members of the community that I see around me because I used to work for a theater for performing arts, and I deal with a lot of community members from the Tamil community. And my personal understanding of the Tamil community is the community works hard. They're family oriented, and they will do everything they can to protect their family and their loved ones. And so while I'm listening, we have our partners from TPS and other law enforcement agencies, and hearing the counselors talk about the recent crime trends, and I'm hearing a lot of very positive feedback, and I'm encouraged by that. But what I do want to talk about is, I think we know that police officers are going to do everything we can to to do our job and apprehend the bad guys and bring them in front of the justice system. And while I'm not going to comment on too much on how that's going in terms of what the justice system is doing, what I do want to concentrate on is the safety of the community members. At the end of the day, I think it's never a good feeling having somebody invade your place of business, something that's going to affect your livelihood. Somebody coming in here and taking things from you. So it's very easy for members, me, myself, I have family members who are into retail business, and they tell me if somebody comes into their store and they're trying to rob them, and this is something that you're going to be wanting to protect because that's your livelihood and you want to provide for your family, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with emotions and put yourself at risk. What I want to talk about is, remember this, you are going to be more important than anything else inside that store. I'm not saying that we should let them do it. We will catch them and we will do our best to catch them and hold them accountable. But remember, your safety is priority number one. So I'm sure that crime prevention officers will have a lot of tips to tell you to keep you safe. But I personally want to get the message across is, you are the priority. Your safety is the priority. If you're going to be in a situation where your safety is going to be at jeopardy, remove yourself from that first. And police will do everything in our power to come and apprehend these people, hold them accountable, but remember your safety comes first. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. So next, of course, I would like to call upon Sethuran Punithavel from Corporators Insurance to speak about the importance of having an insurance for all of your commercial store, jewelry store, or any commercial industry. You should have the insurance. So, Sethuran, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Mike's over here. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm really appreciative for CTC for actually organizing this. I think it's an issue that affects our community and all Canadians in general. I'd like to tell everyone I'm the insurance guy, so I'm the last guy you call. Probably need to call the police officers first or the fire department if they get a hold of me. But I thought I'd talk to you guys a little bit about the insurance. When things go bad, and after you call the police, and after everything else has happened, how we can be involved in this. For those of you who don't know me, I was born in Sri Lanka, I was raised in Africa, came to Canada in 1986. I'm still on my first wife. 3 daughters. I went to UT, I have 20 years of experience, and my office has combined more than 100 years of experience in insurance. So there isn't very much that we haven't seen or heard or had to deal with over these years. But I can tell you right now, it's probably one of the most interesting times in insurance, between the break-ins, the car thefts, all the claims that are coming in, and we've had a lot of experience. We've never seen anything like this before. At our insurance, at our office, we do commercial, home, auto, life, everything. But more importantly, we're your plan B. Plan A is you go out there, you be successful, you do whatever else that you have to do to be successful in your life. We're just there while you're making your plan if things go sideways. So here I'm just talking about insurance in general, kind of give you guys a line of sight on what we do cover in insurance. As a business owner, you have to cover the building, the contents, the liability, the stuff. Not the life insurance, that's not covered under commercial insurance. Building, I think everyone knows, if you own a business and you own the building, you need to have the insurance on the building itself. That covers everything from the actual building itself. More importantly, the glass on a lot of these stores, all that is covered under the building coverage. And this is why it's important that you actually need to know your lease agreement, because in some lease agreements, the landlord's responsible. On other lease agreements, the tenant is responsible. And you need to know in your lease who is responsible for what. The contents and the jewelry selection, obviously stock is your number one risk. All the gold, all the
ever undertaken in Canada. After more than a century of serving parliamentarians and Canadian